see if we get you to work. Should now be live. Welcome back to Tailosive Tech Live, everyone. It is the Thursday edition of the live stream. It's a late night for me, 11:30 p.m. How's Lewis R doing? Adil. Hot dogs. Who doesn't like hot dogs? I haven't had any in a while. Anyway, how are we all doing tonight? Hopefully reaching different demographics this evening because this is not a normal hour for many of my more Westerner viewers in the United States. Hello, Matthew Worth. Hello, William, Alex, Laser, Apple Tips, Yeehaw, Manoj, Tom, Joshua. Everyone, welcome. How's it going? What's that thing on your desk? This is a microphone. It is how you hear me, hopefully. Audio not synced up. Try refreshing. Oh, wait. There could be a problem. Hold on a second. I'm not sure if I need to reset something. Give me a second here. Why can't I see my own live stream? Try refreshing if it's not. Let's hear it. I need to reset something. Give me a second here. Why can't I see my own live stream? It is a little off. There may be a problem that it is fixable. Everyone's saying it's fine. Do I want to restart? I think I know what's wrong. I think there's a setting on the camera that if I switch it, it'll work. Synced for me. Great. Okay. Unfortunately, after the live stream, for people watching this when it's not live, it never really finds a way to sync up. It's one of the cons of using the Elgato where things do sync up. Usually. Apparently now they're not. When you sync up video and audio on the Elgato live, after the fact, YouTube must try to fix it somehow, and then it makes the entire stream out of sync, like very, very badly. How can I donate? All you need is a browser. So if you're on an iPhone, just look up YouTube on Safari instead of the YouTube mobile app. And if you're in on a desktop, it just works. And Android actually has it built into the YouTube app, but most of you are not Android users. There's a couple of you. Is the new Sport Loop more comfortable than the Sport Band? Personally, I think so, actually. Now that I have it here, I can show you. It's a very soft material, actually. I love that it's Velcro because it's very simple, but design-wise, it's built very similarly to the way the Milanese Loop is built, which I like. And it's a lot softer. For me, my psoriasis-rooted hand, they're disgusting. For those of you who don't know, I have a skin disease, and it makes, like, certain regular cloth textures just kind of rough on my hands because I have all this flakiness, which is annoying. I know, this is disgusting. However, with the Sport Loop, I haven't had that problem at all. It's very, very soft. It's easy to feel. I actually wore it in the shower today for the first time, and it held up just fine. It held up just fine. It actually dried fairly quickly, so this thing was definitely designed by Apple to actually be it can get wet and it can dry off pretty quickly. It's not like the Velcro doesn't work any better or worse when it's wet. It works completely fine. Yes, actually tomorrow's video, sadly, we're not getting a Refried Friday tomorrow because your boy goofed up and forgot that today was Thursday and that I should have done a Refried Friday tomorrow. But instead, because everyone wouldn't stop asking about it, is an LGV30, thoughts video where I talk about my thoughts on the LGV30 because no one will shut up about it. Yes, there is a very slight audio delay. I apologize. Welcome to Tailosive Medical. I'm not a doctor. No, by any means, no. There's still an audio delay. I'm sorry. Part of it is YouTube's fault, as we've discovered. Because it is different depending on who's watching. See, I think there's one thing I could try doing, but I'm not sure if it'll work. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys... Should I do it? I'm going to ask the chat. Should I change the camera really quick, which will cause the stream to go down for a second, and then put it back? Favorite Apple products, probably the iPhone. Thoughts on possible bigger OLED iPhone next year, as well as a possible 6-inch or larger LCD iPhone. What I thought, yeah, that's totally believable. And again, it's really, wow, you guys are very split on this. Yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, no, 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 yes, yet, no, need, no, dad, yes, yes, yes. There's not a good way Don't turn off. No, no, no. I'm getting a lot of yes. I'm getting a lot of no. Oh, you guys are so split down the middle. This is impossible. If someone donates with a yes or no, I'll do that. How about that? Whoever donates with a yes or no answer. Then it'll be like, okay, someone put their money where their mouth is. I'm sorry. There's too many split people. I can't do it. Yeah, isn't it weird how MKBHD started live streaming way more often after he met Andrew and realized how often I did? Well, I think he is subscribed. I can't be guaranteed if he is, but for those who don't know, Mark has actually commented on videos I made after our collaboration. So he commented on, I think, the iPhone 10 defense video. So he may be subscribed, or he just might tune in every now and then, which I was very, very grateful for, because I thought maybe that the only reason he saw the video I made was because it was about him and that he hadn't really seen anything else. But now it was kind of reassuring to get a comment on a video after the collaboration to know it wasn't just kind of a one-time thing and he does tune in. But yeah, I have actually noticed an influence. I don't want to take credit for it, but just kidding, I totally do. But I noticed YouTubers doing different things more recently that kind of follow my lineup a little bit. Maybe you guys could answer me this. Okay, it got a lot worse. All right, fine. You know what? Before too many people in here, there's not even 100 people in here yet. Let me reset the camera. The stream's not going to die completely. It'll be dead for just a second. Let me see if I can fix this. All right, 1 second, guys. Oh, shoot. Okay. Should be back now. I don't know if this sounds better or not. I apologize if it doesn't. For some reason, rules are changing and I don't know why. Do not take Melanie's loop underwater. No, do not do that. Why not? I've done it. Why didn't they make black AirPods? Yeah, I really, oh. Are we back? No, I'm not sure. Because I can't see the, okay. I couldn't see the replay monitor, which was kind of weird. Okay, you are fine. Okay. Yeah, it's a little better. Okay, this is as far as I can get. If it gets out of sync after this, I do apologize. There's not much more I can do about it. I could try to unplug things back here. Let me make sure. Really quick. Really quick. Okay. Sorry. Just in case there were computers back there using internet when they shouldn't have been, we have now double checked. Camera is syncer with mic. Audio is better. Wonderful. Wonderful. What do you think about GoPro 6? Oh yeah, I just saw the news about that. The new Hero 6 is out. Just after the iPhone 8 came out, they announced 4K at 60 on the GoPro. But if you saw Everything Apple Pro's video more recently, it doesn't look that good, to be honest. GoPros are kind of dying out as of now, which is very depressing and sad. But, you know, as smartphone cameras get better and better, it's just less and less practical to kind of have your own dedicated camera for stuff. But obviously it's an action camera, so it has that purpose. You're not going to strap your phone to your helmet or to your bike and stuff. So for people who do that, who capture sports activities, it's useful, but it's not like the new crazy trend anymore in terms of video. The new crazy trend is drones. Everyone wants a drone. Everyone wants a cheap drone. Everyone wants a fast drone. Everyone wants a 4K drone. That's the new thing, but that'll die out too, just like GoPro did. Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, the iPhone 8 camera did have much better. Mr. Who's the Boss commented on your iPhone 10 defense rant. You're getting the name up there with the big boys. I did see that. He's actually commented on a couple videos. I think I get a list in my app here. Yes. He commented on my on my Pixel video. He recommends I record in 24 FPS, and I'm kind of like, nah. But I haven't responded to him. And then he did comment on the iPhone 10 defense video. Yeah. Yeah, I get a notification every time like a large YouTube account watches or not watches. I get a notification when a large YouTube account comments on one of my videos, and I got a notification for him. iPhone 10, but with iPad iOS 11 Control Center. Wasn't that like a leak when people were still talking about how the iPhone 10 was going to not use a home button? I remember there being like a leak that you were going to be able to swipe up to multitasking, and then underneath your multitasking apps, you would have more Control Center options. I don't think that works as well in a phone as it does on an iPad. On iPad, it makes sense, but I think the screen is too small on an iPhone 10 for that to be practical. There's not that much room. What is happening with the new AirPods? So the story on the new AirPods is that there's not much news about them. We don't even know if they changed anything at all apart from the wireless charging. I'm partially a little confused because I didn't realize you could have wireless charging on devices that were just like made of plastic, unless they made the back of the new AirPods actually part glass. Maybe you can. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not an expert. But I was really hoping they would put the W2 chip in the AirPods, and they did not confirm nor deny that. They didn't say they didn't put a new chip in it. But for those who don't know, some of the difference with the W2 chip is that they can send data a lot faster than ordinary Bluetooth. It doesn't necessarily mean the range is as good, or it doesn't mean they can... No, it's still faster. Like, I've noticed improvements on speed on my Apple Watch, and that is the W2 chip. So that'd be great, because then sound quality could potentially be better for those audiophiles who notice things like that. I'm watching from France before going to school. Oh, that's kind of cool. All the way from France. Oh, first super chat from Project MMWSFS. Z. Sorry, I know what that letter is. It's not late. I'm not tired. I've been struggling if I want the Apple Watch Series 3 for a while now, as everything the Apple Watch does, I can do it better on my iPhone. Also, I cannot wear it during sport. Taekwondo. Any advice? Oh, that's cool. You Taekwondo. Okay. Yes, it's true that the Apple Watch is not really better at your phone than any particular feature, but that's because it's not really meant to replace your phone. Even the Series 3 Cellular is not supposed to be a phone replacement. It's an alternative to communication. So one thing I think the big problem people miss with smartwatches, and I like to bring this up because I've been talking about this since the Apple Watch came out. You know, I remember the day Apple announced that they were making an Apple Watch, and people were really upset. They were like, it can't do this, it needs a phone next to it, what's the point? And they kept saying, isn't it essentially trying to move an iPhone onto your wrist? And I had to keep clarifying, no, the watch is an accessory to an iPhone. It is not a standalone product. It is not meant to replace your iPhone. Your iPhone is always going to have a better processor, a better camera, a better display, a longer Actually, no, not a longer battery. The smaller the device, the longer the battery can usually last. But what the watch is good at is notification management. So for me, recommending Apple Watches to people, it's usually about it's usually a focus on, are you a guy who uses his or a guy or girl who uses his iPhone a lot of the time? Do you get notifications that you don't necessarily need to know, but at a moment's glance could respond to? So for me, I use my phone constantly. I love being able to check things like that. Do I need to take my phone out of my pocket when I get a text message because I don't know who it is? So if the text is important, and it is like important that you respond, it's nice being able to very quickly glance at the watch, figure out who texted you. If it's something that can be sent briefly, just hit a couple pre-made custom text ones. If it's something you need to write a big paragraph for, then take the phone out of the pocket. Whereas without the watch, I've noticed that it's very, very difficult to know if it's worth getting your phone out of your pocket, because for the most part, you're just getting tapped on this thing. Some people, have different ringtones or different alert sounds for different apps, whereas, sometimes if you're in a place where you can't have your phone be on a loudspeaker, like hopefully me right now, I hope my phone is on silent. If you want your phone to be on silent, that means that you only get a tap or a, physical feedback in your pocket for when there's a notification. You don't know if that's mail. You don't know if that's your girlfriend. You don't know if that's your mom. You don't know who it is. Whereas if the watch, if you're in the middle of a conversation or you're in the middle of something important, you can just do a quick, I don't need to worry about that. Saves a lot of time. The act of pulling your phone out of your pocket doesn't take very long, but you do it so often because we use our phones constantly. And then, of course, that's just the one thing. I think that's the main thing about the Apple Watch that it changes your life for. Of course, it's a great activity tracker. Of course, it's becoming more and more independent, so you can kind of focus more on what's going on in life. So obviously, there's a ton of things I love about the Apple Watch, and I've now gotten to a point where it's like, I can't live without it. I don't know how I got by without this. I don't remember the days of where I just used to keep feeling for my phone all the time. Seen MKBHD stream quality? Yeah, that's what happens when you have millions of dollars. And when you have 500 megabit up and down internet. You can do things like that. I wish I could do things like that, but this is the best I could do. I'm sorry if it's too crappy for you. Have you heard the new Mac Pro? Can you elaborate the new Mac Pro? Can you elaborate the new Mac Pro and your opinions on it? Whether I should get it because I use old Mac Pro Tower. Okay, well, it's very hard to talk about, obviously, because the new Mac Pro does not exist yet. It's a theory. It's an open secret. It's not a theory, sorry. Phil and Craig did announce that they are working on it, but I don't think you should let unknown products decide your buying decisions. Well, that's not entirely true. There are exceptions to the rule. Obviously, if your iPhone's about to be refreshed in a month, you should not buy an iPhone. But right now, all iPhones have been refreshed. Please buy the iPhone 8, not the 10. We need less demand for the 10. Whereas the Mac Pro, there's so many questions and there's so many uncertainties. And, you know, the demand and the need of people, the needs of the people who want to purchase a Mac Pro are very specific depending on what job they do. And we have a very basic idea of what the Mac Pro is, which makes it kind of hard to argue why you should or shouldn't wait for it. Because it's like, they said they're going for a more modular design that's more upgradable. It's Apple. Like, that already sounds fishy. So upgradable might not mean directly you can buy NVIDIA graphics cards and just shove it in. Maybe it's like an exclusive chip that only Apple-approved GPUs can work with. And if that's the case, then it's not necessarily going to be cheaper. The Mac Pro might not be cheaper than the iMac Pro. We don't know. We know so little about it that it's very hard to compare. And we do know that it's not going to be out for a very, very long time. At the absolute soonest time for us to see the new Mac Pro, end of 2018. So we're over a year away from it as of now. So if you need something with better specs and you need a better performance and you need it pretty quickly, definitely don't hold out on the new Mac Pro because it's, like I said, at the very soonest, the end of 2018. It's totally possible this project could be pushed into 2019. And if we're talking about products in 2019, it's impossible. It's really ridiculous to try to think we know about products that are coming out 2 years from now. What are your thoughts on the iPhone 10? Do you watch the channel? Like, I've talked about this 1,000 times. It's good. I'm getting one. Okay. I stood up to my teacher because I'm an Apple sheep just like you. You don't have to stand up to your teachers. Like, they don't, both my parents are teachers. They don't decide the curriculum. You know, they're required to be there. They're required to teach things. I admit that most of the things I learned in high school and college were dumb and useless, but it wasn't the teacher forcing me to learn that thing. There's higher up people in government that are requiring that teacher to teach you things. Don't be mean to your teachers. I'll get iMac Pro. There you go. Exactly. iMac Pro is coming out a lot sooner. We know a lot more about that. It's going to be very capable, and I really hope that I'll be able to get one. Why did Apple stop selling Series 2? They kind of didn't. It's kind of a confusing middle ground. It was kind of difficult to explain, but they wanted to obviously put the new W2 chip in all watches. They didn't want to sell the Series 2 because that would have been an inferior processor, and they didn't want to, they wanted to give the option of AirPower charging to all Apple Watches. So if they would have kept selling the Series 2, it would have meant that only the Series 3 would work with AirPower, but the Series 3 without cellular and Series 2 are so similar that it would have felt really, really redundant, to be honest. And they already made the regular Series 3 a lot cheaper than a Series 3 with cellular. So that was already the affordable option. Whereas, you know, they wanted to upgrade the specs of the Series 2, but they couldn't keep calling it the Series 2 because then they couldn't say AirPower works with Series 2 Apple Watches if you bought it after a certain day. So it would have been very confusing. So believe it or not, the whole calling it Series 3 and Series 1 and not having a Series 2 actually makes the most logical sense. It's confusing, I know, but if they would have updated the innards and activated AirPower for the Series 2 watches, which, like I said, they don't want to keep sending those out there if they're not compatible with AirPower. They're hoping that everyone who's buying a new Apple Watch is going to be buying AirPower chargers as well. They want those to be optimized. But to say Series 2 is not ready for AirPower, but the 3 is, like, it's easier for Apple to just say the Series 3 works with AirPower and then stop selling the 2. Anyway, if you have to throw away one of your Apple product boxes, which one would it be? Ooh, on the wall, probably the Apple TV box. Like, I'm debating even keeping that at all. Like, I don't even know why it's there. The other one is the Apple Watch Series 3 box. There's no picture of a watch on it, and there's a very minimalistic one on the side. It's not that exciting. I prefer, like, over here, I don't know if you guys have noticed, this is the 8 Plus box, which is very basic, but at least it shows the product that's inside it. The Apple Watch it says the word Apple Watch Series 3 on it. It's not as exciting. Oh, I didn't tell you guys, like, the challenge I wanted to do. I had an idea. While you guys are here, because there hasn't been that many Super Chat incentives lately, so I wanted to give you some. If we can reach $100 in Super Chat donation, this live stream will end with me singing All Star by Smash Mouth. It's a popular song. It's popular in the memes, so we might do that at the end. If you guys want me to. But again, that'll be up to the Super Chat. Anyway, hey, this whole week I'd spoken to Apple haters, and they say the same thing. What do I do to make them shut their mouths? They call me an Apple sheep. You don't want to shut anyone's mouth. Anyone has the right to speak unless they're abusing that power, which is when they're not, like, arguing with you. They're not providing counterpoints. It's just when they're screaming at you beyond reason. You don't want to shut their mouth. I don't ever want to encourage that. In fact, in the Discord chat or on Twitter, I always want to have a conversation with people like Marquez. I disagree with Marquez on a lot of things. I don't want to make him to be quiet. I just literally want to understand his point of view better. And also it gives me a chance to argue my point of view, which encourages and helps my argument for myself. Like, I start to understand more about myself when I am challenged with contradictory ideas. Like, for Marquez, I don't understand why he likes the Pixel. I still don't. I'm not convinced he has a justifiable reason to like the Pixel. But I try to talk with him on that about what about it makes it worth it to you, because it has, like, you know, with the headphone jack on the top, headphones not included, laggier processor, giant chin, no wireless charging. The list goes up. No dual camera, no expandable storage, no waterproofing. Like, competing with other flagships that have these features, it just feels a little bit ridiculous to me. But he can justify it, and part of it started to make sense for me, but it's still not, like, entirely. Like, he wanted to say that he tests so many Android phones that have skins on them, that finding a phone that doesn't have a skin and is just pure stock Android is what he likes about it. And part of the argument with that to me is, like, you know, you review every phone that comes out. So does the fact that the Pixel costs a lot not bother you? Because that's the biggest problem with it for me. The Pixel is a lot of money. If the Pixel was half its price, it would be an amazing phone. If the Pixel was a budget phone, that would be great. It's not, though. They charged the Pixel the same amount of money the iPhone 7 did. And the iPhone 7 was just such a better buy. And I'm not talking just iOS versus Android. I'm just talking features alone. So that's what I couldn't understand. Anyway, thank you for your donation, Racelyn Brown. Really appreciate it. Didn't send a comment, but I appreciate it. The software is a great experience. But again, you can't argue about exclusives with Android's operating system, because you can get Android on lots of different phones. Now, I know you're saying that there are skins on lots of different phones. Don't act like you can't customize Android. That's the whole point. I've customized so many different Android phones to make them look more like stock Android, and you get 90% of the experience. I can't get behind that argument. I don't understand the argument of that the Pixel's OS experience is better, because I've used Samsung phones and I've customized Samsung Galaxy phones into being more root to stock Android. That I don't understand how you can just say that the Pixel has the better operating system, where you can change really any Android phone into pretty much however stylized operating system you want. I thought that was the beauty of Android. Wasn't that the beauty of Android, is that you got to make it the way you want it to? But then when someone recommends the Pixel, it's all about how it's stock clean Android and how great that is. But it's like, well, I'm going to change it to my own liking anyway, right? So I don't get it. I can't understand that. But I want to. That's why I like having discussions about it. I'm looking for a cheap iPhone that I can pair my Apple Watch to. What would you recommend? If we're just talking cheap, the iPhone SE. That starts at $350 now. That's a really good deal. And it will pair to your Apple Watch. Even the Series 3. I think the Pixel is glorified iPod, RIP. No, the iPod was actually good. It had the headphone jack on the bottom. At least the more recent ones did. What to buy, 4K TV or a full HD TV? Yeah, see, that's kind of the question I'm debating right now, because I now have a 4K television, finally, as you guys hopefully saw that unboxing video, to pair with my 4K Apple TV. I was like, okay, if I'm reviewing 4K, I want to experience the true thing. So I even got the Netflix 4K subscription service. Sadly, I cannot watch YouTube videos in 4K because Google hates the Apple TV. It does look really cool when you can get a 4K image to load on your 4K television. Like, it's very, very detailed. And it's very, very... And you can see every pore on every single person's face, which is cool and all, but it's like... The amount of work it takes to get to this point is probably not going to be worth it for most people. Like... Buying a 4K television, if you have a 1080p television, I guess you now have to buy another one. Paying for the services that allow for 4K playback, so 4K movies cost more, first of all. Second of all, finding a computer or processing power that can output at 4K, so whether it be a 4K Apple TV or the new Fire TVs that can do 4K. And then on top of that, getting internet speeds that can support 4K playback. Like, there's so many stars that have to align, like... Yeah, 4K is cool, but I'm not sure if it's worth the trouble. I think it's a lot of trouble just to make sure that every image looks like real life. It's kind of complicated. I haven't developed an opinion on it yet. Like, 4K may become the standard, but I feel like if it does become the standard, it won't be because consumers thought it was better. It'll be because the industry decided for us. Okay, there's a bunch of super chats. Don't worry, I'm not missing them. I'm going to answer these. All right, first... Randy Barnes says, $93 to go. I've had the 64GB iPhone 6 since launch 3 years ago and still have 16 gigs of space left. Do you think I would be fine with the 64GB iPhone 10? As long as you don't plan on recording a ton of video. Like, I don't think it's turned on. No, it's definitely not turned on by default. But when you first turn on your phone, it's definitely not going to be, your iPhone 10, it's not going to be default to 4K at 60. But if you plan on using that feature, if you plan on using the 4K at 60 resolution, then you might want something more than 64. I've actually been vlogging a lot and recording a lot of videos at 4K at 60 on my iPhone 8. This is the 64 gig version. It hasn't filled up yet. I'll tell you, there's this app called System Info right here. I've used 32 gigs, so I still have 27 gigs left because some of it is just for the OS. So I have 27 gigs left, and again, like, iCloud storage and Google Photos for backing up stuff. But if you plan on recording lots and lots of 4K at 60 content, then the 250 sticks starts to become more and more worth it. But I don't think, if you're just talking about games and music and apps, you'll be worried about storage on 64 gigs. Okay, Arctic Bangsal says, the iPhone 6... should I buy iPhone... Oh, you've got the iPhone 6. Should I buy the iPhone 10 or next iPhone with embedded Touch ID? Personally, I wouldn't hold out on that. I really don't think they're going to bring Touch ID back. I think they're really going to ship Face ID and say that that is the future, that is the better way. That's my prediction. I could be wrong, but I really feel like Apple doesn't like to remove something and then bring it back. That usually doesn't happen. Usually when they remove something, it's because they found a better way, and they're going to try to perfect that way and make it better and better and better. And it seems like they're putting a lot of work into Face ID, trying to perfect that. And I think that based on how the operating system works alone with the iPhone X, you know, having a home bar instead of a button now, just based on that alone, it doesn't really feel like Touch ID could make a comeback. Well, I mean, like, it could. The technology may be there, but Apple's not going to research it. So, see, I really have a hard time recommending anyone buy the iPhone X, though, because demand is so high. I don't want to tell more people to buy the X. I'm buying the X, but if I wasn't a tech reviewer, I probably wouldn't. That's really the only reason I'm buying it, is for my business. If I was just I don't know, if I was just in college or if I was just working at the Mandarin Ranch, probably wouldn't make a move on. If you guys want to see the vlog footage I did, that's 4K at 60. It's not up yet, but it'll be up very soon. Subscribe to Tailosive Talks, because I do weekly vlogs on there pretty often. In the next vlog 109, is entirely shot 4K at 60. However, you'll only get that quality option from YouTube if you're watching it in Google Chrome. Sorry, it's not up to me. It's up to Google. They don't support that on Safari or on mobile, or, well, there's not 4K on here anyway. But it is an option on Google Chrome. I checked it out, which is cool. Okay, Rosalind Brown again says, new to the channel and a binge watch for the last weekend. You've jumped to my favorite channel. Thank you. Anyways, iPhone X, half swipe up to control center and full swipe up to multitask. Thoughts? Half swipe to control center. Yeah, that might work. Full swipe up to multitask. That'd be a little bit confusing, though. I think it's already kind of confusing, because a full swipe typically means go to home screen now. Like if you just swipe like this. And multitasking, I think, is already going to be kind of a learning curve for people, because it's when you swipe up and hold, and then you activate multitasking. So to have a swipe to go home, swipe and hold, multitasking, and then half swipe to I don't know. I don't see it being very simple, and I feel like Apple thought a lot about this, because we saw some leaks saying they were considering other things. So I think they're going to stick with this way for now. At least that's what I'm guessing. Apple will research Touch ID again to be embedded into the display. Like, guys, they figured it out. They reported in R&D department that they figured out a way to embed Touch ID. The problem was it was too expensive and took too long to make, that it wasn't worth it in the long run, because it was driving up the price of the iPhone so high. I really don't think it's coming back, but of course, there's no rumors on this. There's no leaks on this. You could be right. I could be right. We have no way to prove it. So there's pointless debating. Aaron says, do you wish the iPhone had a screen size and look like the Note 8? I'm using a Note 8, but I want to switch. But the Note 8 has so many more features. How do you justify iOS when using Windows? Well, first of all, don't use Windows, because I don't like having my computer update 10 times a day. No, I don't want the iPhone X to be more like the Note 8, because I like that companies have different perspectives and ideas on how to make phones look. In fact, I talk a lot about this in tomorrow's video, is that I feel like all Android companies kind of made the same phone this year. They didn't take many big leaps. That's why you didn't see me get excited about the V30, is because it just looks like every other phone. You know, it started with the G6. They got thinner bezels. They got a taller aspect ratio. After that, it was the S8. It got thinner bezels. It got a taller aspect ratio. Then it was the Essential phone. It was the first phone ever. So it got thin bezels, still big chin on the bottom. Not a big chin, but a noticeable chin on the bottom that's useless. It doesn't have any buttons on it. Then we get the LG V30. Guess what? Did it all over again. It's Android with a slightly different skin. So I can't justify, like, everyone's just buying Android phones now based upon the skin that comes on them, even though the point of Android is supposed to have all these customizations. If you use a Windows device, God help you. How can I justify using an iPhone? It's still got better specifications. And I do think that the Note 8's features aren't that killer just because I'm not a stylus person. If you can make good use of that stylus, I'm impressed because everyone I know who has a stylus likes to like lightly doodle, or the people I know who have Galaxy Note phones barely use the stylus. Um, so it's not that useful in that regard. It's like if you're taking notes, please just type. I don't think it. A professor's Windows 10 decided to update during a presentation yesterday, had to stop the class. Oh, well, that's a good thing, Robert. You got class to stop. Thank you, Windows. Yeah, I just have a bias against Windows because I've used it many, many times, and I hate the lack of control it gives to its users. I feel like Windows 10 was designed for a touch interface, and 90% of the platforms it's on they're not on a touchscreen. I don't like that when you're in the boot up menu, sometimes when you hit power, it'll say update and restart or update and shut down. And those are the only options. It's like, I want to not update. If you've ever seen like Windows 10 rant videos, you'll see the people who are literally working on stuff, but Windows keeps having pop-ups saying, we need to update, and you hit cancel and cancel. Eventually, it will just gray out the option to hit cancel, and it'll say, we are updating your computer now. Too bad. It doesn't matter if you're working on something. Your computer will update in 12 minutes, and there's nothing you can do about it. I hate that. And there was a ton of people I knew when Windows 10 came out where it forcefully installed itself on their computer. They did not see the Windows 10 pop up and hit install. They literally woke up, opened their computer, Windows 10 was on there, and half their programs weren't supported on it. So I'm not a fan of the lack of control it gives. Say what you will about macOS, but it is very, very polite and generous when it comes to updates. Because macOS, of course, has updates just like any other platform, but it doesn't shove it in your face and force it down your throat. A little pop-up shows up on my Mac that says, do you want to install updates? And I'll hit not now, or maybe tomorrow, or maybe in an hour. And usually it'll update in one of those times, but depending on the one I pick. It's very, very simple. Whereas Windows 10 is actual malware. Yeah. Please turn off stereo audio and live streaming because it sounds so terrible. You could listen to it out of regular speakers. Is that even an option? That's the question. Well, my streaming setup does not have that option, so sadly I can't do that right now. Sorry. You'll just have to live with it. Have you updated? Yeah, I've been running macOS High Sierra for several months now, and it works great. Even when I was on the beta, I didn't really have that many bugs. The new Apple file management system that lets you transfer files very quickly. It's true. When you're transferring files on your Mac, they're very, very instant. But overall, it's not a overly massive upgrade, so there's not much to talk about. That's why you didn't see me do a video on High Sierra. So it's a very, very basic upgrade. It's mostly internal, makes the computer run faster. But that's what I've come to expect with macOS. You know, I like that it's reliable, and I like that it's not trying to be a touchscreen. It's good at what it is. So, not much to talk about in the video. Does it save storage? Yes, it did. As soon as I updated it, I think I freed something like 20 or 30 gigabytes of storage, which was nice on a 256 gigabyte hard drive. That makes a difference. Okay. You know how I said a few weeks ago that I had to take my AirPods back and fix them? I've had to do it again. I'm happy to say the replacement ones are working well. Yeah, you know, there have been plenty of problems with AirPods. What I've noticed, though, is that it hasn't kept people from buying them. I had problems with my AirPods. I lost part of the volume on one of them, and then I replaced it, and it worked fine. And then a few months go by, and I lose audio on the other one. And I realized I have still not had a pair of headphones last as long as my AirPods have. Every pair of wireless headphones I've owned usually go about 3 months, and then one of them dies. And every pair of wired headphones I have, usually the cable starts breaking, and you have to hold them in a very specific way. And because of AirPods, I can never really go back to wired headphones. So despite the problems AirPods may run into, I've noticed that the fans of them really have a hard time switching back to anything else. They're like, hey, AirPods are busted. I need them fixed. I need them replaced. I'm not switching to anything else, though. I've noticed that. It's like, no, I don't want to find a better pair of headphones. I want these to work because they're my perfect pair. How's your wireless challenge going? Still great. Still awesome. I've not plugged a single thing into my iPhone 8. It's been perfectly fine, and I love it. It's actually not really a challenge. It feels like the portless lifestyle, to be honest. One problem, that's not really a problem, it's just kind of a minor inconvenience, is I've noticed that I have all of these lightning chargers now. And I can only charge my iPad with them. I have this little charger dock for my AirPods, so I don't even use a lightning cable to charge my AirPods. You just like plug the AirPods into them and it just starts charging. It's very easy and it keeps them upright. So I have like 8 to 9 lightning cables now that are just exclusively for my iPad, and I don't need that many. So it feels rather ridiculous to have all these lightning cables now that I don't use. They're all over the place, and it's like, nope, I wirelessly charge this thing. So it's fine. And like I said, it's not really a challenge. It's kind of nice knowing that, you know what? I'm not sure when Apple is going to remove the last port, but if they do it next year, if next year's iPhone does not have a port on it, which would be incredibly soon and it would drive people mad, I wouldn't care. Don't need it. My iPhone has not needed the lightning port a single time. Do you feel the iPhone 8 is a worthy upgrade from the 6S, or should I get the 10? I think you should get the 8. 6S to 8, definitely noticeable upgrade, and we need to lower demand for the 10, people. Come on, it's a ripoff. $1,000? My God, how ridiculous. Okay. I updated my Apple Watch Series 2 and have lost all of my contacts whenever it notifies me of a message or phone call. I've restarted it multiple times with no luck. Any help? It shouldn't do that. I've never heard of that, and I know 5 to 6 people with Apple Watches that updated them. Let me think. It sounds like you didn't pair it to your phone correctly, because the watch is just mimicking all the contacts that are on the phone, from what I know. I'm sorry, I've never had this problem. I'm definitely getting the 10. The 10 is rubbish. You don't need it. Yes, Tom Capper. Don't need the 10. Remember, everyone. No one needs the 10. Yes, Jeremy B. agrees with me. How about portable charging in a bag with wireless charging? I haven't needed to do that yet, but yeah, that's probably one problem I may run into. If I'm traveling and I want to charge my phone on the go, wireless charging suddenly becomes much more difficult. Do you think the AirPower will support the Apple Watch Series 3? Yes, they openly said that. I really want the AirPower, but I don't want to buy a new watch. Then the Series 3 is a new watch, right? Yeah. No, they legit said on their website that it'll work on the Series 3. They even said the Series 3 will work on selective Qi chargers, but I don't know which ones yet. Because I put my Apple Watch Series 3 on several of the Qi chargers I own, and it didn't charge them. Which would be really cool, though, if you could have one charger for both the phone and the watch. Like, that'd be cool. How I pitched the idea of Apple Watch Series 3 to my parents. Well, first of all, if you're not willing to pay for it, don't, because that's not how that should work. See, I wasn't allowed to buy any of the tech I wanted when I was younger, and I had the money for it. My parents were like, no, that's not a good expense for you. You need to learn how to save. So, like, even if you can't afford it, I had to go through boundaries. But to pitch it to your parents, if you have to ask your parents, there's probably a problem. How do I pitch it? It's kind of my review today, wasn't it? It's kind of like, it's nice to have the phone left behind. If you're going to school, you could say that I could contact people and not be distracted by my phone. But I don't know if that's what you're intending it for. You're probably not intending for the Series 3 to be your standalone replacement. See, Mom and Dad, now you can ground me and take my phone and I can still text people. It's great. I do not think the Series 1 will work with AirPower. I think they said that and mentioned that on their website. Where's the chime sound on the iPhone when you put it on the wireless charger? Right? You don't get that special fancy new sound when you put your iPhone 8 on Qi charger. I think that's an AirPower exclusive or something. Which honestly, that's something Apple would do. It's something Apple would be like, only the certified Apple wireless charger actually makes your phone scream a very loud and really cool chime when you charge it. And that would suddenly encourage people to start buying AirPower. That's all it would take. They'd be like, It makes what sound? And then there you go. Apple Genius told me that I might be because the AirPods were trying to connect to my phone and MacBook at the same time. That's weird. Samsung Galaxy X, I don't know what that is. Thoughts on the supposed Ultra Pixel? I actually saw a article today that the Ultra Pixel leak is probably not true. And again, leaks can be true or not true all the time, so it's totally possible that it is true. But based on the leaks I've seen of the Pixel, it goes along with every other Android phone this year, which is all about the skin. It's not about the features, because most Android phones all have the same features. Well, they're all using USB-C. They all have thin bezels on the side with slightly thicker forehead and chin. Some of them keep the headphone jack. I think the Pixel's going to ditch it. Your friend MKBHD believes it's true. Yeah, and he believes the Pixel's a good phone. I don't. We don't have to agree on things. It looks like they just did what everyone else did, and they're the last ones to the party, except they won't have wireless charging. They'll probably be lacking in features and result to the Pixel has a very high camera rating from blank. But what is that company that reviews cameras that we all decided if they say it is a good camera, it's a good camera, even though like the Pixel camera didn't have optical image stabilization, everyone had to like zoom in on the photos all the way to say, yeah, it is better. And now the iPhone 8 Plus has a higher score on that website than the Pixel does. So I hope they can top that. If they can't, it's hilarious. But DxO Mark. See, that's how little I care about them. I don't know their names because I don't believe you should let one outlet decide if a camera is good or not. I don't believe in that. I think that's messed up. And I was actually fairly upset that Google thought that was an okay way to say the camera's good. They did. I hated that keynote. You say they all are the same, but the iPhone hasn't changed. The Androids changed from the last year. Androids have more RAM and multitasking is easier. How do you feel about this? What do you mean the iPhone hasn't changed? I find that hard to believe, especially with the iPhone 10. This has wireless charging. This has 4K at 60. This has the new color options. This has different lighting options. This has a True Tone display. This has fast charging if you need it, but I don't. I would argue that Android phones haven't changed that much. The displays are bigger. Ooh, cool. Androids have more RAM and multitasking, but that doesn't make them any faster in speed tests. Especially on Geekbench, the iPhone 8s have destroyed the Note 8. And keep in mind, the Note 8 is a lot more expensive. What are the killer features apps of Apple TV that are not in a smart TV? Smart TVs are getting better and better. Apple said the future of TV is apps. Will that be enough? For me, it is. I love all the games and apps I can download on the Apple TV. I play Asphalt 8 on there, and you can pair a Bluetooth controller with it. Minecraft runs really well on there. I know that runs on everything, though. Barely on the Nintendo Switch. But I like the game, like Alto's Adventure. Like, I really love that it's kind of a gaming console. It's not on par with the Xbox and PlayStation. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying the reason I appreciate the Apple TV is the tvOS. All the apps you get on there are very nice. And they're getting better and better. Now that we have a 4K Apple TV with an A10X Fusion chip, it means the graphics and the performance of these apps and games only gets better. It looks really cool. I love that. And the smart TV has annoyingly dumb UIs, and smart TVs have very, very stupid remotes. Every remote a TV company makes is dumb. They have way too many buttons on them. Very, very complicated. They always make the most useful buttons the tiniest, and they always make the whole thing black so you can't see it when it's dark. It's annoying. You should do a Nintendo Switch roast video. I don't know, man. You got to be careful with the Nintendo Switch fans. They are very certain that Zelda and Mario are good games, and that is why the Switch is good. And they get defensive about it. I've had arguments with Switch people. Plus, my editor, Nathan, loves the Nintendo Switch. So if he had to edit that video, he'd be very upset and probably edit it to make me like it or something. iPhone 10 has an anagram for Phoenix. Druid has risen from the ashes that are the Samsung arm. I don't understand what that means. My Samsung never works. The smart TVs, yeah. I hate the built-in smart TV option on televisions. They don't know how to design operating systems. They're always so confusing. The remotes are confusing. Like, name someone who can walk up to a smart TV remote and know exactly what to do. Or they have to finick with it for 10 minutes. And they're like, wait. So you power it off. And it's even worse if you have cable TV, which you shouldn't. It's dumb. But if you do have cable TV, it's always like, well, you hit power on this remote and then power on this remote, and this one controls the speakers. That's why I hate all these TV living rooms people have that have like 8 remotes lined out everywhere. It's ridiculous. I love that I just have Wi-Fi and an Apple TV, because my one Apple TV remote can change the volume, can turn the TV on, can turn it off. I don't need to plug in anything else, and things load in 4K. It's very, very nice. Watching Netflix in 4K is awesome. Okay. Is the $10 a month for cellular Apple Watch worth it? I think it is. It's not that much money. And it's useful when your phone is dead or when your phone's not on you. I love it. If you saw Series 3 review today, I think it's worth it because I just don't think $10 a month is a lot. And first of all, I'm not paying for the cellular on my watch until 2018 because the first 3 months are free. Not a problem. Hey Drew, have you ever thought that maybe Apple will use Face ID in the iPads and in Screen Touch ID for the iPhone because it would be more convenient to use Face ID for iPads? How? Like I said, it's very unlike Apple to remove something and then bring it back. Usually if they're removing something, it's not because they went on stage and said, we couldn't figure it out. It's they go out there and they say, we found the best way to log in for something. And they're saying Face ID is better. They literally openly said Face ID, 1,000,000 to 1 ratios, Touch ID 50,000 to 1. So I think they came off as Face ID is better. We're going to focus on that from now on. And they're just going to try to make it wider and easier to use. And it works in a more wide array of situations. It's more secure. Whereas Touch ID, I think they were just trying to say, it's great. It's very useful technology, but there's a better way to do it. And I think they'll slowly just start implementing Face ID and everything. I meant to ask if Watch Series 2 will support the AirPower, and again, they didn't say that. They said Series 3 will support AirPower, so I'm assuming Series 2 will not, because they didn't say it would. Will you do a comparison with the HomePod and Amazon Echo? These smart speaker things. They didn't Amazon just announce a bunch of new Echo products? I'm not terribly into the smart aspect of speakers, because first of all, I don't ask a lot of random questions like they show in the commercials all the time. If I need to set a timer or if I need to Google search something with my voice, I'll just use Siri. I don't know why I need to have a speaker that's dedicated to just that. But HomePod, I'm more interested in because of the smart speaker, not the smart speaker elements, but the sound quality of it. That people are saying it's amazing. Also part of Apple's ecosystem. I love that Siri is there. That's cool, but I feel like that's not what I'm going to be using it for. I feel like the focus of the new HomePod is going to be sound quality, not the smart speaker elements. They're there, but that's not the primary focus. Why do people buy a smart speaker? I don't get it. I think it's one of those things that makes you feel like you're in the future. Like, computer, tell me how much fat is in an avocado. Like, I don't do that. It's more comfortable for me to look up an answer just by typing. It's less socially awkward that way. And usually, if you have friends like I do, anytime you try to start talking to a smart speaker, then they try to yell at it too and try to confuse it. So I'm not used to smart speakers. Anyone want the glowing Apple logo back on MacBooks? Not me. I know there's a ton of people who do, but I'm not one of them. I contacted Apple support asking if older watches were supported by AirPower. One person said yes, and when I contacted again, another person said no. Who should I believe? I believe the website and the keynote. They literally explained that on the Series 3 they made the charge plate on the back a little bit thicker, and that's due to the reason that it supports AirPower. So I would believe Apple.com, not some person who works at Apple. Yes, I have the 42mm watch. All my watch bands I have. I got a wide selection of watch bands in this drawer here. They're all 42. I've tried 38. Too small. I can't do it. It's just too small. In my opinion, Apple builds its line of products on usability. I'm bothered by the notch sensor array on the iPhone X as it blocks videos and games. What are your thoughts on the effects this has on UI and UX. Thank you also, Rolando, for your donation. Appreciate it. My opinion is that the notch will disappear when you want it to. A lot of people are missing the point of that. Like, in all the demo reels and stuff where they're showing off the phone, they want to show that the display is edge to edge. You know, it's the same size bezel all the way around. But what they don't show you is that in the demo, if you want that notch to be hidden, you can double tap on most videos. It'll disappear. The bezels will come in a little bit. And I think you're going to get used to it. I don't think it's going to be that intrusive in the long run, because most of your attention on this is on the display and where the content's being shown. You're not focused on this top piece of the phone. And all they really did was take the forehead of the phone, shrink it down to the smallest it absolutely could be, and the little ears of the 10 that are up here and here are also things that are just there for displaying information. They're not really something that you're going to be looking at a lot of the time. The primary focus of the 10 is going to be on the content beneath it. So I think they thought through that one, and I think it's a cleaner look personally than the... I would still rather have a notch than the slightly large chin and slightly large forehead, which is what every other Android company did. And for the record, I'm just glad Apple did something different. It would have been extremely annoying if they just did what everyone else was doing this year. I was like, this is all we can think of. Everyone's just like, thinner bezels, thinner bezels, thinner bezels. And then Apple comes out and does thinner bezels again. So, I like that they chose to have the same size bezel all the way around. I thought that was good. May I ask where you have studied? Butte College, but I don't recommend it. I hate it there. I'm getting an Apple Watch Series 3 today. Should I buy it or wait for the Nike Plus to come out? Just buy it. Just get the Nike bands later. It's fine. Okay. My dad is buying the iPhone 10 because I study media at college and I use it for filming. Gotta love Dad. That is very nice of you. My dad would never pay $1,000 for me to have a phone. But college. Exactly, Thomas. That's a better name for it. It's very immature. Yes. But so is the college. Anyway. Thoughts on your new sports strap? As I mentioned earlier, really like it. It's just an affordable version of the Milanese loop. Milanese loop is nice. It's a very premium feeling watch band. But what the biggest problem I have with this thing is that it actually, when you rub it over your hair, and sometimes I do that, you know, when I do this to my hair and I'm just trying to straighten it and stuff, the watch band will actually pluck little hairs out and it'll tug on your head and you're just, ow! And it's especially worse when I go on dates with my girlfriend, Louise. If you want to know more about her, subscribe to Tailosive Talks. We're on there all the time. You're going to see a vlog with me and her right after this live stream ends. I'll publish that vlog. You guys can watch it in 4K and 60. But when I put my arm around her or when we're hugging or something, she has very long hair, this will start pulling on her hair, and that hurts her. So I have to make an effort that I never wear this Milanese loop when I'm going on a date with my girlfriend. So this doesn't do that. Very soft. It doesn't pull out your hair, so I like that about it. And it's also cheaper. Please complain about the notch on the top of the iPhone 10. To be completely honest, I don't think it looks too bad. Oh, people complain. Sorry, I thought it said please. Yeah, it's... Like I said, it's efficient. Every part of the front of the iPhone 10 was used. It's like they used every part of the front of the phone. Whereas on, for instance, the Galaxy S8, you've got extra bezel space on the chin that, again, has no buttons, that has no features. They didn't even put front-facing speakers there. It's just a big empty chin on the bottom. And then on the top, you do have the array of iris scanner and earpiece sensor and stuff, but there's stuff in bezel space up aside of those sensors that aren't doing anything. It's just extra bezel space. And I think Apple was like, if people want to remove bezels, let's do it. So they shrunk down the bezel around all the sensors, so that's why you have the ears, and they didn't make the bottom of the phone thicker than the side bezels, which I love. I think that looks a lot cleaner, personally. Why do you think it's a multi-user function available on the iPad? Why do you think isn't a multi-user function available on the iPad? Probably because it wasn't high in demand. Everyone can just share it. I don't know. I haven't really had a use for that. Most people who are buying iPads can just use it themselves. Sorry if you need that. How do you feel about the sharp corners on the inner parts of the ears of the iPhone 10? I personally wish they would have rounded them like every other corner of the phone. I don't know. I'm not looking at one, but I feel like they're pretty rounded off. I feel like people are overhyping the notch. I feel like you're going to get over it if you use one. Do you get annoyed with only having rows of icons versus customization that Android has? Do you wish Apple had some of that? No, I prefer the rows of icons because it's far more practical and logical. Like I said, Apple uses every front of the display. There's nothing I miss about it. There's not that much, for instance. There is a couple things. But there's not that much I miss about Android because Android fans, I don't know why, this isn't all of you, but especially on demo products, Android fans like to have their home screens be very, very blank with nothing on it. And like the time at the top, and then their notification widgets has like 30 things on it. And then they have like 5 apps at the bottom. And then they have an app drawer. So there's an extra swipe to access all of your apps. Where with an iPhone, your apps are all there. You open the phone, there's your apps. You don't have a separate section for the things you have your phone for. So, no, I don't miss that or like that about Android at all. Please tell me why I should buy an iPhone 8 instead of an iPhone SE when I already had an iPad Pro. Okay, get an 8 because of wireless charging, first of all. So as more technologies are going to adopt that in the future, like if you're in a Starbucks, they're embedding Qi chargers into tables and stuff. That's just going to become more and more popular now that Apple's doing it. As well as the better camera, which is very, very nice that the SE does not have. You have a standard of 64 gigs on the 8, where on the SE you have 32. You have stereo speakers. You have water resistance. So if you fall in a pool or your phone falls into something wet, it'll be fine. On the 8, on the SE, not so sure. SE has a headphone jack, which is dumb. You should stop using that. 8, you should save and get AirPods. Why didn't Apple announce AirPods version 2 that support wireless charging? Well, personally, it kind of actually would have been a jerk move if they did because everyone is just now getting their AirPods. The shipping time for AirPods finally coming down to a stop where you can finally get them in about a week. But imagine if everyone was like, finally, I just got my AirPods, and then version 2 came out. Like, that would have pissed everyone off. They're probably waiting because it's very possible the technology's not ready yet. They're not building them yet. And by the release of the last version of AirPods, it sounds like they're very hard to make and they're very hard to ship out because they were so high in demand and it took so long to ship. So they're probably trying to perfect the manufacturing process of the new AirPods. You know, they got hopefully a new chip in them and stuff, but yeah, it's difficult. Okay, we're coming up past the hour mark, so any last questions, last donations, now is the time to ask. Do a 1-week Android challenge, all in favor. Say aye, please, Drew, do it. I say why not. Well, first of all, don't say aye. Don't spam the chat. Because I've done the 1-week challenge with Android several times. Every time I reviewed an Android phone, that was the only phone I used while I was reviewing it. The Marquez has an iPhone and an Android in his pocket at all times. I don't do that. When I wanted to experience the Android smartphone I was reviewing, I didn't use my phone. It stayed at home or it stayed in my backpack. So I did that with, let's see, the Blue Vivo 5 is where it started. Then it was the Nexus 6P. After that, it was the Note 7. Then after that, it was the Pixel. And then it was the Galaxy S8. Yeah. All of those I used exclusively for a week. It doesn't change my mind. You can't make the argument that I haven't tried the competition and that's why I don't like it. Believe me, I used a Windows 10 PC exclusively for about a year. Couldn't do it. Had to get rid of it. And I have used Android phones exclusively for long periods of time. I can't switch over. And it's not a matter of habit. It's just a matter of lack of logicness and lack of a supporting ecosystem. Ricelyn Brown again donated, says, have you seen those new carbon batteries? They're as thin as a piece of paper that will probably be out in 2020. I really hope we can get more battery technology because battery technology really hasn't changed that much in the past 10 years. Lots of other parts of our phones and technology have, but lithium batteries have kind of been the same way. So it'd be really cool if we could start investing and seeing changes in batteries that would be better than lithium, that could be lighter or last longer, whatever. Yeah, I would love to see that. But again, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of people talking about aluminum batteries that could charge from 0 to 100% in like a minute, which is cool, but they hold so little a charge it wouldn't be useful on an iPhone. So hope to see that sometime. But yeah, that would be a really cool innovation if they could start implementing it into modern tech. Which will be the most popular configuration of iPhone 10? Storage and color. I'm guessing space gray is going to be a tad more popular. Usually is. I'm going to guess space gray 256. More people are going to buy the 256 one. It's like, if you can afford a $1,000 iPhone, you can afford the extra $150 for the better storage. And that's likely also the one I'm going to try to get. I don't want the silver one. So, yeah, I'll be refreshing at midnight for sure, trying to get that as fast as possible. But let's hope I can get it on November 3rd. Let's really hope so. Android doesn't need a specific ecosystem. You can make one with Android. Yeah, you can make one that doesn't work as well. That's the problem when you have 18 different companies making one ecosystem. It's not thought out and it's not user-friendly with each other. Believe me, I've tried. Don't act like I haven't tried. What do you think? Why is the iPhone 8 slow than the iPhone 7 saw in a video and RAM management is so bad? First of all, there's glitches and there's because it's a startup phone and it has it's a new phone and it's just been unboxed and stuff like that. There are problems, but I also don't get speed tests like that because it's not something anyone does. And if a phone is that close in a speed test, don't dictate your buying purchase on it. It's like, well, why did you get the 8? Well, it's actually faster because it got to the Snapchat and everything Apple Pro's speed test video 2 extra seconds. So it's faster. I don't get those kinds of speed tests. It's not worth it. There are instances in where the 7 is slower, and there's instances where the 7 is faster, I'm sure. There's probably instances where the 6 is faster. It's just kind of random. It happens sometimes. But only when you put speed tests in very, very specific ways that I don't think should be the way you dictate which phone is worth it. How reliable is iOS 11's integration? I haven't had any problems with it, but again, I'm not everyone. So all I can say is from my experience, iOS 11's been great. I've had no problem with it. Okay. Well, we're past the hour mark, everyone. I appreciate all the comments. Sorry, I can't live stream forever. But if you haven't yet, please subscribe to Tailosive Talks because right after this live stream ends, you'll be able to watch my newest vlog that was shot entirely on the iPhone 8 Plus. It's 4K at 60 if you're in Google Chrome. If you're not, watch it anyway. You can see my girlfriend, you can see my friends, and you can see daily life. Hope you enjoy it. Anyway, thanks you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate all the donations. Sorry, no, we didn't get to the Smash Mouth. We didn't get to the Smash Mouth goal, did we? No, I don't think we did it. Maybe next time. We'll get there. But believe me, I did practice, and I did memorize all of All-Star, so I can do it. But when you guys earn it, I promise I will. Thank you, everyone.